Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are a returning viewer, hey boo, hey. If you are a new subscriber, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome. We are discussing The Gifts of Imperfection by Dr. Brene Brown. It is not too late to purchase this book and follow along. You are more than welcome to start with this video, or you can start at the first video, or you can start at any video in this series that sticks out to you. They do build on one another. However, they are independent of each other, which means you can start wherever you like. Before I jump into what we're going to talk about today, I do want to just express to you all that part of the reason this video was uploaded late is because I wrestled greatly with continuing this series while we are in a state of an emergency in the U.S. Understanding that while people are at home and they're still watching YouTube series and they're still, watching TikToks and they're still on Instagram and they're still on Facebook, I understand that we are in a state of an emergency, which means our mental is not where it was a couple weeks ago, right? A lot of us are dealing with anxiety. We're dealing with depression. We're dealing with being overwhelmed. We're dealing with fear. We're dealing with just worry. On top of trying to adhere to the CDC's suggestions, which is social distancing, so we're by ourselves unless we live with people, which also can be a great thing or an annoyance depending on your situation. It can be a dangerous thing. All these conditions impact where we are in our mental state, and they can impact the attention that we were given to this book, right? And so being sensitive to that, I was like, should I continue this series? Like, there's something so much bigger than this going on. And then after sitting with it for a while, I was like, you know what? I'm still going to post because I'm home. In addition, while it feels like this is not relevant to what's going on right now, I've realized it really is. You are home. If you're someone who has been asked to work remote, you're home. And depending on your conditions, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to, one, be introspective, and two, to connect to your community. I mentioned this multiple times in my videos that sometimes, or something that I love that Brene does, is that she repeats a concept. And as a teacher, I know that this is because we don't always get it the first time. And so a lot of you have watched my videos, you've followed along, you've listened, you've been offended by them, you've been made uncomfortable by them, you've been convicted by them, you've been inspired and motivated and encouraged by them. But now is a great time to assess how many of us have been changed by them, how many of us have actually put into action the things that I'm sharing with you, the things that the book talks about, and really implemented them in our relationships that we claim to care about. So while you are home, I want you to take care of yourself first and foremost. So if that means taking a day, 2 days, 3 days to get your head back in the game, and by the game I mean like just in your normalcy, do that. And number two, with your downtime, while this is a great time for self-care and this is a great time to read and binge watch TV and all these other things, this is also a great time to connect to your community. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to reach out to people that you have not talked to in a while, people who you may have fallen out with, people who you are in relationship with and just want to give more time to. This is a great time to do that. It's so funny how the government is calling it social distancing, but really this is the best time to connect, right? In a more intimate way that isn't contingent upon what we're doing, spending money, having to have outfits. It's literally just, hey girl, hey boo, hey guy. I don't know what guys say. Hey bro, sorry. FaceTiming them, checking in, writing letters, really thinking about every relationship in your life and what you feel it could use to go to the next level. And so, I debated posting this video because I noticed when things were like really at its height, like it was really scary. I mean, it's still scary in certain places, but I feel like it's kind of dying down. I noticed a lot of people saying like, this is the time to get on your content. This is the time to do. And I'm like, no, this is not. Like, this is the time to still put in that work. But let's get out of the mindset of busy that we get so detached from what's going on around us, that we are so focused on sales and numbers and ratings and viewings and followers that we separate ourselves from what our audience and our, who we're selling to is going through. Like, yes, people will still spend money in the height of fear, in the height of, you know, the world changing so much. But this is also the time that people need to feel seen, valued, heard, affirmed, and supported. And so this is a great time to also just tap in with your community. Like, I can't stress that enough. Call everyone. Call the person who you want to call you. You know, call everyone. Now, am I asking you to open up old doors and to get back into toxic places? No. But I am telling you, you have so much time in your hands to be introspective, which means to look at yourself, to do an assessment of yourself, and then to also put things into action, to actually say, you know what, let me call so-and-so because it's been a while and I miss them. And I've been working on being honest, being vulnerable, being compassionate, being connected, dealing with these things. And I want to navigate this relationship differently. So yeah, take care of yourself first. Do not feel bad for doing that. And secondly, do not feel like this time, unless you're working remote, if you're not working remote and you're just kind of at home, if you've been laid off, like, you have to take care of yourself. But once you get to the place where you're back, head in the game, connect. I think your later self, right, later in the year, will thank you for the time you put into your community. I remember someone saying this, that community is currency. I think I saw it somewhere. I either read it or heard it. And I'm like, that is such a profound statement, because in a world that pays attention to money and followers and being liked, as I'm getting older, I've realized that I am so wealthy when I have my people in my life. I'm so wealthy when I am a contributor to my community, and when my community is contributing to me. I feel most cared for, most loved, most recharged. All those things I feel like maximum, right? And so I just want to tell someone, like, yes, you are in social distancing, but you do not have to be an island. You can make the first call. You can do the first reaching out, and you can do it twice if you have to, because people need you just like you need people. Like, we're reading about this, and everything that this book talks about, while it is about ourselves, it is connected to people. And so I don't want you to waste this time. I don't want you to take it for granted that you are so important. You are so necessary, and your community's waiting on you to show up in a great way, show up tremendously, show up healthy, show up whole, show up authentically, show up vulnerably, in a vulnerable way. Kind of getting tongue-tied there. And show up informed, you know, like, talk about these videos. You've been watching them. Initiate the conversation. You know, hey, I want to talk about something that I haven't shared with you, and I've known you for 5 years. Use this time. It will recharge you. It will make you feel phenomenal. Today I went walking, and I was on three-way with 2 of my best friends, and I'm just like, I love it. You know, I'm by myself, and I'm not saying we should get to a place where everything's done virtually, but in this time, since that's what has to happen, I was just like, I feel like they're right here with me. I actually made like a little picture, and I drew like stick figures, and I sent it to them, just being funny, like, look at us doing social distancing well. And, you know, it was just so nice. I was taking care of my temple by exercising, but I was also taking care of my emotional needs by making that phone call. You know, it's so nice to be able to do that. Again, I understand that people are in a state of panic right now, that they have lost their jobs, money, there are bills due, and I understand that, which is why I'm not aggressively pushing these videos as your primary focus, but more so once your head is back in the game, once you have really calmed the fear and the overwhelmingness and the worry, then tap back in. And so really quickly before we transition, I just want to pray right now that those who are watching this video, who may be going through unemployment, who may be worried about money, who may be worried about finances and food and household situations, I pray right now that God shows up tremendously in your space right now, that he brings you a new wind of peace, and that he does a new thing in your space. I pray that the anxiety that you are experiencing, that while you don't have the answers to your next bill and your next meal and where your employment will come from, I pray that in your spirit you are reminded right now that God is a great provider. He is a great provider, and he has provided for you in your past, that he reminds you of moments in your history where he has come through, even if it was at the last minute. So I pray right now that peace passes over you and that it sticks with you through this entire process, that you are cared for, that you are not only your mother and father's child, but you are his child first and foremost. And he knows the needs that you have. He knows where it hurts. He knows where you're uncomfortable. He knows where you're stressed. He knows where you're worried. He knows. And that's the most comforting thing, is that he knows. And so I pray right now that those who are under the sound of my voice watching this video, that mental attacks have no place here, that financial burdens have no place here, that isolation, both in spirit and physically, have no place here in your life, that negative talks have no place here. I come against not having right now in the name of Jesus. I just truly believe that there are people waiting for you to show up. There are people waiting to provide for you and to assist you. There is a community that is attached to you that will show you the promises of God. And so I come against fear. I come against worry. I come against being overwhelmed. I come against internal stress right now in the name of Jesus, that everyone who's watching this, that they are just reminded. I pray that God just begins to just enter into your space right now, and that there's just a wind of calm and peace, and just a peace that truly passes your understanding, that you're provided for, that you're going to be taken care of, even if you can't see it tangibly, even if you don't know where it's coming from, that he reminds you that he is the great I am, and that he's capable, that there's nothing too hard for him, and that he knows what's going on. This pandemic, this situation, this virus, it did not catch him by surprise. You having senior citizens in your family, or those who have immune systems that make them susceptible for attack, that didn't catch him by surprise. And so I also pray that he gives his angels charge over thee to keep you and your family in the absence of one another, and even in the presence of one another, that the people you come into contact with, including strangers, that God will begin to do something in your immune system, your immunity, and in their immune system, that wards off this virus. I cancel the assignment of the enemy right now in the name of Jesus. And I just pray that through this time of you being home, that there is an opportunity for a revival, both in your relationship with him, with yourself, and with others. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. Okay? So it's all right. We're going to be okay. We are going to be okay. I believe that. And I'm going to just say this because I want to be transparent. I want to be authentic, that I was nervous too. I was tripping. My friends had to get me together. I was like, y'all, like, I never care about stuff going on in the world. I know that sounds bad, but like, that one really was catching me off guard. Like, they're shutting down schools. I'm not going to see my kids. And, you know, I just started to think about people who were in less fortunate situations than me. I mean, I really had to check my privilege. And also, I'm just like away from my family, and it's just all these thoughts. And like, I just had to say, wait a minute. I know who my help comes from. I know who is my strong tower. I know who is a way maker. I know who provides for me, who keeps me. And it's not me, and it's not my job. So let me correct these thoughts right now. Let me cast down anything that does not line up with his word concerning me, my life, my finances, and my family. Right? And get it in order, get back in alignment. And I know who I answer to and who has the final say in everything that happens in this world. Okay? All right, y'all. It's 13 minutes in. I know. Y'all like, if she don't get to the text, I know. But that was for someone. And so, gotta be obedient. So we're going to talk really quickly about the difference between shame and guilt. The last video that I posted, I talked about shame resiliency 101. And I said that there will be a part 2, but I'm probably going to name this video the difference between shame and guilt. Dr. Brene says, the majority of shame researchers and clinicians agree that the difference between shame and guilt is best understood as the difference between I am bad and I did something bad. She says that guilt equals I did something bad. Shame equals I am bad. She says shame is about who we are, and guilt is about our behaviors. Say that one more time. Shame is about who we are, and guilt is about our behaviors, something we've done. She says we feel guilty when we hold up something we've done or failed to do something against the kind of person we want to be. We feel guilty when we hold up something we've done or failed to do against the kind of person we want to be. It's an uncomfortable feeling, but one that's helpful. When we apologize for something we've done, make amends to others, or change a behavior that we don't feel good about, guilt is most often the motivator. I love that. So essentially, she's saying for guilt, while it doesn't feel good, right? Because we are looking at something we did. So there is this idea, and I'm looking right here because I want you to imagine an object here. Oh my God, I can't believe I cursed him out. Oh my God, I can't believe I snapped. Oh my God, I can't believe I lied. Guilt looks at this situation and we say, this does not live up to who I want to be. This does not live up to who I proclaim to be. And so because I'm experiencing guilt, I will then go and do things like apologize, make amends, change a behavior. And the motivation behind doing that was the guilt I was experiencing. So guilt can be a positive thing because it's assessing something that I did. Shame, however, says that I am bad. She says guilt is just as powerful as shame, but its effect is often positive, while shame is destructive. She says when we see people apologize, make amends, or replace negative behaviors with more positive ones, guilt is often the motivator, not shame. In fact, in my research, I found that shame corrodes the part of us that believes we can do better. So she says that, so if I was operating through shame, I probably wouldn't apologize. I probably would not make amends. I probably would not change my behavior because shame corrodes. Shame tells me that I'm a terrible person, that I am bad, not what I did, but that me in totality, not worthy. I'm bad. Okay. And so there's one more thing she says that I really like. She says children who use more shame self-talk, which says I am bad, versus guilt self-talk, which is I did something bad, struggle mightily with issues of self-worth and self-loathing. Using shame to parent teaches children that they are not inherently worthy of love. So she talks about parenting here, but I want to talk about, and I'm going to wrap up on this note, how we project both to ourselves and to others. And so if in raising kids, when we raise from a place of shame, if it causes children to have issues of self-worth and self-loathing, I truly believe that in the relationships that we are most intimately connected with, when we have authority, right? So let's think about this. When we are in intimate relationships, we give people permission to speak into our lives, and we have permission to speak into people's lives. I want you to know that. I want you to know that connecting to someone in an intimate way gives you authority. It gives you influence. It gives you power in this person's life. And so if I am speaking to you in a way that projects shame, you're going to have issues of self-worth and self-loathing, and you will feel unworthy of love or unworthy of whatever you want to fill the blank in. And so this video is really straight to the point. We're talking about the difference between shame and guilt. And I want you to ask yourself, am I speaking to myself? Am I dealing with the decisions that I've made from a place of shame? I haven't mentioned Christ so much, not because he's not relevant, because as you can see, I will bring him in this video. Okay, we will pray if I feel led to. But because I really want to make sure we're doing the application piece. And if you've watched my videos in the past, you know, like, I'm going to talk about the Word of God. This one is so good to me, though, because we can't earn God's love for us. The Word of God tells us that. And I think this is such a big idea. It's so loaded, but it's so simple. It's so simple, but it works here. Okay. I'm going to try to say this as quickly as possible. In the beginning with Adam and Eve, when they were disobedient to God, they hid themselves because they were ashamed. That's what the Word of God tells us. And what I love so much about that story is that they were in God's garden. I think I've mentioned this in the story before. In the series. And when they made a mistake, God in his own garden says, where are you? And I chuckle at the story every time I think of it and when I tell it and when I say it out loud, because I imagine it looking like a Pac-Man game. And God is looking over the game. He sees, the Pac-Man, right? And he says, where are you? And it's like, you're asking me a question you know the answer to. So why ask it? That becomes my thought process. Why would God ask Adam and Eve, where are you, when they were in his garden? And I think what it is it gives them the opportunity to invite him into their shame so that he can still show up mightily for them. So he can still say, I love you. You're worthy of being sought after. You're worthy of coming to check in with me, because there is nothing that you can do, even when you're in disobedience, direct disobedience, even when you are in a backslidden position, that will cause me to not seek after you, that will cause me to not love you, that will cause me to not want to be in relationship with you. I love that he says, where are you? Because I don't think he's really asking them to say, well, we're behind the tree. I think he wants them to assess, where are they in their relationship with him? And so bringing it to the text of the book, I think shame prevents us from being able to assess what we did wrong, right? So Adam and Eve could not say, oh my goodness, we ate the apple, let's run to our father, or let's go and deal with this. But instead they hid themselves. I don't even know where the apple went. Where did the apple go? Where did the little thing go? The actual item, right? After you bite the apple, this is what you need to assess. We ate the apple. But instead, shame says we are bad. We are no good. We should hide. We're disposable. We should be thrown out. We should be rejected. We should we should blame one another. Shame causes you to take an assessment of yourself and do away with it. Guilt, proper, mature assessment of the situation, guilt will have you say, wow, we were not supposed to eat this. Let's assess this. Let me go and apologize to my father. Let me go call that friend and say, you know what? This does not match who I am and who I want to be. This decision, this one decision, this poor decision that I made in this moment does not reflect who I am and where I'm trying to get to. So I apologize. And so I hope that makes sense. But I want you to know that everyone struggles with this. And the next time you're having a shame storm or a shameful moment and you are beginning to tell yourself, I'm nothing, I'm not worth it, I'm a piece of trash, yada, yada, yada. No, I want you to assess what happened. Assess your actions. Literally, if you have to at home, you see how I'm doing this? Take a marker and say, okay, what the heck is happening right now? What do I feel bad about? So that you can actually see what you should be attacking. It's not you. If you have to do a dry erase board, whatever you need, a piece of paper, you don't have to really talk to a marker. But you have to say, you know what? I was rude as heck. I cursed this person out. I put my hands on this person. I stole from this person. I lied to this person. And that's not who I am. And I don't like it. And instead of tearing away at me, I'm going to attack this behavior, this action. And I'm going to let guilt drive me to the person that was on the opposing end, who was offended by my actions. And I'm going to make it right. Because I'm better than that. Me, I'm better than that. And I know that I am. I know that I'm better than that. So I'm going to let guilt drive me to reconciliation. But I'm not going to let shame drive me into depression and isolation and the belittling of myself and self-harm and suicidal thoughts and hiding. No. Shame, you have no place here. All right, y'all. We had 25 minutes. I'm playing. Stay safe. Take your time. Of course, if you watch this video all the way through, please share it. Let's talk about it. I think this makes a great talking piece with your friends, because you know what your friends done did. You know what they struggling with. And I want you to ask yourself, am I advising them and encouraging them in a place where we're attacking the issue? Whenever my friends share something with me that they're feeling, I'm like, listen, God loves you. No one in this world has a heaven or hell to put you in except him. You're good. let's talk about the action. Let's address what happened, how'd you get here, and how can we not get here again? Because you honey bun are still worthy. Even right now. Okay? All right, y'all. I'll see you in the next video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching. Be safe.